Welcome to our newest webinar, the Pickleball Guru's Toolkit, the 5 things that you need to have to be able to play smart pickleball. I'm Randy Manaply, and I'm here with Prem Carnot, the world's premier pickleball coach and author of the best-selling book, Smart Pickleball.
Hello Guru Nation, welcome again to our newest webinar.
Before we get into it, Prem, a little preface. You can get a pretty nifty PDF, download it, print it out, if you like, by heading over to pickleballguru.com and joining Guru Nation. Free to join. Toolkit is also free. And the toolkit isn't just a pretty 5-point bullet list. For each tool, there's 3 things you can drill or do on the court to hone that skill.
I look at it as a fantastic tool, and it's totally free and accessible to anyone who wants to use to improve their game.
And sometime fairly soon, you have a new book coming out all about the drop shot. Is there a reason the drop shot is number 1 on your toolkit, Prem?
It is. It's most predominant part of the game, considering that the serving team has to get to the non-volley zone line. You really have to find a way to drop a ball into that non-volley zone line, so on the opposite side, so that you can get to the non-volley zone line. So it's a very important one, and a complicated one at times.
And what about bangers who say or feel they're doing just fine, thank you very much, by driving the ball all the time?
If it works for them, it's perfect. If it doesn't, then probably have to find a different way. It sometimes works really well with the bangers. They are able to do that to a certain extent, but as they improve their next level of play, I think it's not as good as that.
And we just finished up a clinic today, and you made the point of saying you don't even like calling it the third shot drop. You like calling it just the drop shot. And that's because even if you're a banger, you're still going to have to learn how to come up with a 5th or a 7th or even a 9th drop shot somewhere down the line.
Absolutely. That I definitely concur with you on that, Randy. It's definitely like when you're hitting a drop shot, like it doesn't have to be the third ball drop. There's this confusion always about why and why not. If you can't hit it on the third one, you can hit it on the 5th or the 7th or the 9th. It all depends. It all depends on what type of action you really want to do. You're trying to get there, and if you're able to hit the third shot drop right off the bat, then that's fine consistently. If you're not, then you continue to hit a few number of balls to try and get there. I really don't care if you try to hit a drop shot or not, as long as you get to the kitchen line. But drop shot is the most effective one out there when your opponents are at the kitchen line.
And some people call it the snake, you call it the accordion. You consider that to be the best drill to improve your drop shot. Can you explain how to play the accordion, Prem?
Oh, absolutely. There is an easy way of doing it is when you have a partner to play with. You start off at the kitchen line, you start dinking to each other, and then take a step back and still continue dinking, further towards the feet, and you keep moving all the way down to the baseline, and then come back again. So it's like this accordion action, which is like you start from the baseline and then get back to the kitchen line and then go back again. So you keep doing this consistently so that you're able to drop shot from any part of the court, from at the kitchen line and then all the way back, and then from the back to front.
And we're going to cut to Prem snaking or accordioning his way up and down the court, giving on an example of exactly what the drill looks like.
I'm really excited to be able to share with you that.
So the drop shot is number one because eventually you're going to start playing against better players. You're going to need a drop shot even at the pro level. They'll certainly drive the ball, but what do you like to point out, Prane?
Well, most of the times I've been always told, like, oh, you see some of those pro level players driving consistently the third ball. Uh, that's probably an accurate statement to a certain extent. They might probably drive a few number of balls, but they're ready for the fifth or the seventh or the ninth drop. They don't always just stick around and drive every ball all the way through, which normally doesn't work. Sometimes they may drive it and see if their opponent are going to pop the ball up so that they can finish off the point.
The old shake and bake.
It's called a shake and bake, but when they drive it and see if they pop the ball up or they hit a short volley so that they can get quickly inside the court or towards the kitchen. Otherwise, they will probably, if they get a good volley, then they will probably go back and try and hit a fifth ball drop. It's much easier to hit a fifth ball drop because you're already inside the court and it's a little bit shorter distance, so it makes it easier. And so there's that advantage, but mostly they are ready to be for the fifth shot or the seventh shot drop. They don't just hit a drive and wait at the baseline to hoping that the next ball would be somewhere closer for them. They always anticipate that. So driving is a great thing, but not always. Most players out there, outside the better players out there, we tend to sometimes drive the ball, but then stay back there.
On to number two, the crouching tiger. You love being the crouching tiger, and this is a literal reference to a tiger. We're not going to bring up a hidden dragon. What's the crouching tiger technique, Prane?
Well, I normally share this with a lot of participants. I'm all about aggressive play, but with the analogy I often give is just imagine you have a wild cat, a tiger in the wild about to attack its prey. What does it do? It generally crouches, it goes slowly, it waits for the opportunity for the prey when it's not paying attention, and then attacks it. So it's the same way as far as pickleball is concerned. Your soft game, your dink, or your setup game are generally your crouching time. You're crouching and waiting for the opportunity when your opponent puts a ball up, or the opponent is not paying attention. If your opponent is not in the best positions, then you attack when it is all those options are available to you. But don't attack just because the ball is attackable always, especially if the opponents are ready for it. Especially, I make that analogy again with the tiger. Is when the tiger and the prey are going at each other. If the prey was watching the tiger, there was no way for the tiger to be able to attack the prey. It has to wait for that opportunity. So your soft, slow game is generally your setup game for an aggressive shot. So that's also part of being aggressive. It's knowing when to attack, and your soft game allows you to create that opportunity. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense, and it's a great segue too, because not to pick on bangers, and I do this myself, they tend to go for the so-so shot that may be just a bit too high that doesn't have the best consequences, like they slam it into the net, when it may be better to wait for the great shot, i.e. the easy put away. And I like how you say sometimes put him or her to sleep.
Yes. The soft game, sometimes you can lull your opponent into a certain comfort thinking that the next ball is going to be a soft ball, and they tend to pop it up and then you can put it away. So it's a sort of a rhythmic idea when you start dinking with someone and get them into a sense of comfort and safety or security, and then sometimes they don't pay attention, and then you attack them. So it's a wonderful technique to have, and have lots of patience to do that.
And moving from the crouching tiger, you can evolve into a parasite. Explain number 3 in your toolkit, Frame. Channeling your inner parasite.
Well, channeling an inner parasite, when I say that, is basically when your opponent are actually getting aggressive at times, and especially the hard hitters, I often say it's the most easiest play to play because you basically are using their energy to counter their attacks. Because generally people who are hitting hard, or bangers as popularly known, when they hit hard, generally they're using a lot more energy to try and drive the ball harder, and all you have to do is deflect from that. It's basically using their power to put it back at them rather than trying to generate your own speed. So that's basically it. So you're sucking their energy out from your opponents who are really hitting hard at you.
I hate it when you make me do this drill with you. Yeah, I'm like winded after the first 5 to 10 shots, and he's just standing there. It's very annoying. Now, the best way to build up that consistency is maybe get in front of a machine. And just so people know in advance, where do you generally set the machine on the court, what speed, and where are you trying to put the ball, like in relation to the net and where it's coming at you? Just so people don't set the machine at like 10 at the kitchen line or something like that on them.
Normally, for a ball machine, I would probably put it close, not probably 3 or 4 feet inside the baseline, and probably have at about 60 speed, probably, and the ball which is just coming maybe a foot and a half over the net and coming really fast at you. So it allows you to sort of really get down low and start blocking balls. And then you start volleying them back. You can punch volley them. You can practice your punch volleys, which is a block which you're punching towards someone's feet, or a little bit more deeper volleys, or you do what you call a block volley, where you're blocking and deflecting them to whatever direction. You can practice on hitting it to one side, or practicing to hit it on the other side at court or loose court, by deflecting the ball, by using the speed of the ball rather than having to generate speed.
And what we're going to cut to now is a quick video of Praying going up against the machine. Now we get to the really fun stuff. Number 4 is getting your happy feet. Or to steal a line from Adam Goldberg in Dazed and Confused, I want to dance. What's happy feet, Prem?
Happy feet, wonderful thing which we do in our bootcamp sessions, and it's generally about moving side to side and always be in movement. If you're on your ball of your feet, you actually move laterally from one side of the court to the other and follow with your partner, rather than back and forth. Either way, even if you have to do some back and forth movement, sometimes when you're being lobbed, being on the ball of the feet and moving constantly allows you to be more ready for the shots which come to you, rather than being stationary or stable in one area. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. And I think cross-court doubles is one of the better ways to get happy feet, especially when you just have one partner. And that's when you bring out what I call the lily pads. They're these little different colored pads.
That basically the lily pads, you can have different colors. If you're at the tee, at the kitchen, for example, you have one which is the same color on the far end, the corner, and then you have one on the in the middle of that court, which is the same color, and then obviously when you're in the tee on that side, there's another same color pad on the other side. So it's basically, it allows you to know where you should be compared to where the ball is. If the ball is somewhere close to the tee, you'll probably know that your positioning has got to be at the far end, at the sideline. And if you are somewhere in the middle, you're somewhere in that area in the middle. And if you're on the far end, that means your opponent will be probably at the tee. So it's a good exercise, and I'm sure we'll show you a video of it too.
Yeah, and in the video, what you'll notice is I believe the lily pads are green, yellow, and red. And just to get an idea, if you're standing on yellow and you dink the ball over to red, then you need to move to the red lily pad.
That's right.
That's a good example.
That's right.
Okay, and now we're going to cut to this video real quick.
As I said before, I dictate my positioning where I hit the ball. And I'm hitting an impossible shot here. I should have been there. That's my easiest shot. I went back here. I'll be in trouble because this partner was the skill.
Right.
So you're just using the 2/3, 1/3 rule. But depending, if the ball is here, that means automatically your direct opponent is going to be in front of you, which means that you're basing yourself there. That's your position.
And the opposite of happy feet, I call it growing roots, you call it leaden feet, is essentially the old philosophy of this is my side of the court and that's your side. Even with cross-court singles, you really can't play that way, can you?
No, you really can't. You got to have to start moving, side to side, and as I said, this lily pad exercise allows you to really be very precise about where you are on the court. That's an important part of your placement and positioning compared to where the ball is. Your ball dictates your positioning, and it's exactly what you want to do. And always be in movement. It allows you to be more ready for every ball.
And which brings us to number 5, learning to know and love the middle. So to be clear, you've got to know what the middle is first before you love it. So explain again, what's the middle, Prem?
We have done a few articles around the middle, but the most important part about the middle is the middle of the two opponents rather than the middle of the court. The middle of the two opponents is always the iffy, doubtful area where each one's still confused who's going to take the ball. And no matter how good you are as a player, that's always going to be a little confusing unless it's well communicated and well trained. So the middle is always a very good place to place your balls as you're trying to reset your points, and because it allows you to sort of adjust your game very quickly.
Yeah, and one of the biggest questions at boot camp we usually get is, what do we do when someone won't dance with you? When someone almost refuses to have happy feet? Because you get a lot of people at boot camps, they'll come there and they do a lot of rec play, and then of course they're paired up with different people, and the different people, they're like, so when you want to dance and you don't have a dancing partner, what do you do on the court, Prem?
Well, probably change your dancing partner. That'll be the easiest way to do it. But having said that, I'm totally conscious that in recreational play, wherever you play, in a club, in a community center, you might be matched up with people who might not probably do the same thing and probably want to dance with you. And it's like in life, you probably don't have all the people who want to do the same thing you want to do, or would like be as equally passionate about dancing, or coordinating the partner play together and communicating with each other. In that only case, I often say is that you're only responsible for your game. Just take care of your game and still do what's supposed to be done, and then it will allow you to flourish as a player, even if your opponents your partners don't do it in recreational setup. Obviously, by the time you play a tournament setup, I'm sure you will probably match up with a partner who actually is going to buy into playing together. So that's never an issue. So as far as recreational play is concerned, play your game as much as best as possible. Focus on the things you can work on your positioning, on your placement, and not worry about what your partner or non-binding partner would do.
And that's the high points of the toolkit. Again, if you're not a member of Guru Nation and you're watching this on the YouTubes, you can get yours by heading over to pickleballguru.com, sign up at Guru Nation, and you'll get yours for absolutely free. Prem, I noticed that a power shot is included in the toolkit. It's very nice to have, but...
Well, it's very nice to have. It's not always the most important shot in the game. There are certain shots you can do, like the drive shots or the passing shots, but that's very few things you can, few times you have it unless you're playing singles. So it's not something you really always need to have. It's not the most important part of the game, but if you have it, it's great. But it's not always the most necessary shot in doubles pickleball, at least. But you can if you have it, you can use it.
And one of the other parts of the toolkit is some recommendations that we have for honing these 5 skills that you have in your toolkit. So if you're having problems honing these tools, Prem, what can a player do?
Well, before to honing the skill, it's easier to analyze it if you are able to see yourself on what you're doing, and it's easier from that particular perspective. So probably get a friend to tape, or you get yourself tape, playing your matches, so that you start looking at all the things you do. Do you have your paddle up? Are you in position? Do you have your happy feet? Are you actually, in sync with where the ball is, and are you dancing actually with your partner? All those details will probably come out once you see yourself on tape.
And if you're still having issues after that, and if you're doing stuff like losing to players that you think you should be winning against, if you want to compete against quicker, younger, more athletic opponents, or if you just want to have more fun knowing that you'll have all these tools available, you should come out to one of your boot camps where you can really work on improving these skills as well as a whole lot of other things. Prem, give us a quick overview of your boot camp, please.
Well, it's 4 days, 15 plus hours. At least that's the official statement. But generally, 15s are generally doubled by the time we finish a boot camp. Do you agree? That's what we've been doing always for 22.
Yeah, I think they've been 20 to 25 hours. I think when we were doing testimonials, someone from Richmond said, yeah, boot camp officially ends at 4. And she looked at her watch, and I think she said it was something like, it was either quarter till 6 or quarter till 7 or something
Quarter
like
to
that.
7,
Yeah.
yes. So generally, it takes there's a lot of time taken. There's a lot of individual attention. There's 7 sessions through the boot camp. All the lunches for the 3 days are served by us, and what at your choice of whatever food you really want will be taken care of. During the boot camp, all the sports drinks and all your fruits and vegetables and every refreshments you would need, Gatorade, sports drinks will all be offered there. And so the idea is there's only 8 participants, and we focus really, really on individualizing each one's game plan and making it happen. So something which has been very rich and enriching, both for the students and myself and Randy. We get to meet really wonderful people, and it's been a really fun experience for all of us. And been doing it for a few number of years already now, and have had wonderful experiences with all the participants we have had till now.
And just to add to this, the other things you get is the access to the Drop Shot Masterclass. You get copies of Prem's Smart Pickleball book, both the e-version and as well as a soft cover version. And there's much, much more. And there's a couple of boot camps where participants, their faces just lit up when we saw it brought out something special for them.
Yes.
Don't tell them what it is, but
Yeah.
they're just
Definitely. It's things which they never expected. So yeah, there's a lot of goodies which are also offered to it, and but the most important experience is obviously individualized attention. Only 8 are participants, and it's extremely honed to each one's skill level. Despite the fact there's a program which is very specific to each session, but inside that each one has a very different input being given to them pertaining to their game, and it's all about enhancing where their game is from where they are to where they want to be, or at least aspire to be. So at least we both work really hard to get that experience. It's well rounded. Everything outside. From the catering to taking care of every detail on the outside, which you do an excellent job, Randy.
Thank
and
you.
then and all the coaching which is done, and in the time frame we have also, and outside the time frame, has been very enriching and very rich for every participant we've had.
And Frame, in addition to being an IPTPA certified instructor with well over 10,000 hours of pickleball practice, play, and coaching under your belt, this is your career. You're no longer a hotel manager or a chef taking leave to do a boot camp or a clinic. You're traveling from your home base to do boot camps and clinics.
That's very much true. It has been my full-time career for the past 9 years almost now. And I enjoy it, I relish it, and I just can't get enough of it. That's true of it. I just love pickleball.
Yes, while I have work to do tonight, he's going off to play pickleball while Randy still has stuff to do. And I'm not aware of any coaching or boot camp that offers what we do, including an 8 to praying ratio. And some boot camps have a 24 to 3 ratio, meaning 24 participants and 3 instructors. But ours is limited to only 8 participants, meaning you get extremely individualized attention. And the participants are absolutely amazed when they're doing something on one court and you'll yell out paddle up or loose grip while they're on totally another court in the middle of a game. I have no idea how you can take all this information in and spit it right out when you're doing something else. It's pretty phenomenal.
I don't know. I just I'm passionate about pickleball, and I really, really, really sincerely hope each and every participant who come to these boot camps get a very individualized, personalized attention, and I do my best to. And I think we as a team have been doing an amazing job to try and give that experience. And I think our testimonials are proof to that.
And the list price for boot camp is $19.97. If you use coupon code webinar, you'll get $500 off, meaning you'll get the boot camp for only $14.97. And if you're registering with a partner, use code webinarx2, and each of you will receive boot camp for only $13.97, so a total of $600 off. Register with this code by August 1st to receive this price for any upcoming boot camp of your choice. Next up is Vail on August 16th through 19th. We only have 2 spots left in Vail. Then we're off to Dallas in October, Tucson in November, and 3 Vero Beach, Florida boot camps, 2 in January and 1 over Valentine's Day weekend. Only 4, as I said, only 2 spots left for Vail, and for the February Vero Beach boot camp, there's only 4 spots remaining for that one. Register at pickleballguru.com/bootcamp, or give me a call, or give Prem a call, or an email with the contact information on the screen that we have right now. And don't just take our word for it. The tail end of the webinar is the most recent testimonials from our Richmond boot camp participants. And in addition to all that you receive at boot camp, we do evals, and Prem, your coaching is always rated as a 5 out of 5. Other aspects are very, very highly rated also, but your coaching always gets a 5 out of 5 that I've seen on all the evaluations.
It's not up to me to answer that question, but I thank.
Trust me, you're getting a 5 out of 5 on all your evals.
But I definitely thank all the participants for giving this positive input, which allows me to continue working on my own skills as a teacher, and so that I can give the best of me to the best of you.
And if you want some Guru gear, head on over to pickleballguru.com where you can find our gear page. A link is also in the show notes where you can get a smart pickleball t-shirt, even a Guru hat. And you can get lots of other cool stuff like this pickleball electrocardiogram t-shirt all over it from Dink T. It's over at pickleballguru.com. Look for our gear page. So if you want an individualized bootcamp experience like no other that focuses on your game, it's just you and 7 other fun-loving other pickleball players. Before Team Richmond takes over, anything else, Prem?
I don't think so. All I want to say is just go have fun on those pickleball courts. And remember, it's only pickleball.
It's only pickleball. Great. Take care. Hope to see you all on the courts. And take it away, Team Richmond.
Bye-bye.
And how has your Bootcamp Breakthrough experience been?
It's been great.
I loved it. I have learned so much. Yay!
I've had a fantastic time. My biggest breakthrough and my high point experience are two different. So I'm going to give you two different answers to this, Randy. My biggest breakthrough was about using my body and my feet. We started with happy dancing, and then it was learning how to work with a partner, and really moving laterally across the court was a tremendous benefit for me. And my high point experience, the thing that was really the most fun, was learning to dance with a partner. I mean, there's a lot of different people here, and I got to really play with different people and learn how to play with them and move with them across the court. It was fabulous.
I love the whole strategy part. I love to learn how to dance with my partner and to figure out where I need to be when I make a certain shot. So that's been a huge breakthrough for me.
And what did you appreciate about Prem and his coaching?
Oh, wow, that list could keep us here all day long. First of all, he's observant. He really watches. I mean, he joked that even if he's on one court, he sees what goes on in another court. He's kind of omnipresent, but he watches, he observes, and he personalizes everything. He mixed us up on the first day, and then he got us into groups. It just made sense for our level. He works with different people's learning styles, so he really has the ability to tune in to what you need and how you learn so that you learn your best game. It was going to be personal. It was going to be small. I wanted a small group where I could ask my questions no matter how silly they were. I wanted a group that was at my level, and he gave us a way to rate ourselves before we signed up to make sure we were in the right level for this boot camp. So the personal, the kind of finding my level, finding my people, it just made sense. Yeah, I want you to know how extraordinary the whole experience was. I mean, we've talked about Prem, but the support that you provided, Randy, and all the work that went into it before we got here, all the work that, I mean, Prem said to me, do my homework, practice what he's just coached me on, and he's going to be in touch in a month. I mean, I don't go home alone. I go home with a community now, so I'm going to get better and better. And I love all the presents she gave us.
It's been wonderful. I'm having a lot of fun.
He's very laid back, but thorough. And even when he says he's growling, it's not like, oh my gosh, it's what's going to happen now? Nah, he's just, it's what we're here for. We came for a boot camp. We didn't come for a spa day. So it's been great. I love the way, I love his approach. And he just has a good way of just, he repeats and he keeps hounding it in, which is what we need, especially me being slow and old.
How individualized it is, and he's watching you when you don't even know he's watching you, and he'll be telling you something. He really zeroes in on what you need to practice on.
She's offered me a great deal as far as I don't have to worry about birthdays, anniversaries anymore if we just keep doing these boot camps, etc. and whatnot. So at least I don't have to worry about what to get her as a gift.
We enjoyed it very much.
And I think, Randy, you brought a lot to the party, and
yes, you did.
You did a lot of work, and as far as giving us a choice for lunches, that's fantastic. And I got the exact meal I wanted every day, so so it was all great.
Well, and also, Randy, you contributed so much in analyzing some things that we were doing as well when Prem was working with someone else. So
yeah, and also
it was
working
real
with
good
us.
having two people with such individualized instruction.
Yeah, excellent.
Prem is incredibly patient. He's incredibly observant. He knows how to deal with each type of skill set and to work with it. And he gives a lot of time to every single player, so I really appreciate all that.
I agree with everything that Shirley has said. Patience, number one. He has so much talent and can work with so many people at so many different levels in one boot camp. The range, he's just phenomenal.
I've taken from different instructors, and I took from him last year, and I really liked his style, and he's incredibly observant, and he picks up on traits that you didn't even realize you're doing. He can look across 2 courts and see someone doing something wrong and shout out how to correct that movement, and I love that about him.
Sign up. Don't waste any time. It's worth every penny of it. The people who are attracted to this boot camp are really kind, and they want to learn pickleball. This is a pickleball boot camp, and you really learn the sport. You meet other people who want to learn the sport, and you have one of the primo teachers in the country, maybe in the world.
Definitely sign up. You'll find out that the things that you thought you knew, you found out it's not true.
Do it.
Do it.
You are going to love it. You will learn so much. It's money well spent.
And the time he spends with everyone is much more than advertised, so he might say it ends at 4, but it is 5:45, and here we are just finishing up. So he spends the time needed to get everyone entrenched in what he's trying to train.